Okay, hello. Already have an update on this project I've been working on, experimenting with. um, Basically, if you haven't seen the previous video, you probably should, but I'll try to wrap it up. So I've been looking into the actor model pattern, which is like a super old pattern, which hasn't been used much in JavaScript because it's really like its true power is related to concurrency. So like you have multiple cores and you want to run things in parallel. But in JavaScript, you only have one thread, so you don't really care about that stuff. But we do have like event-driven patterns in JavaScript, and they're really, really difficult to manage. But looking at the actor model pattern and then thinking about state machines to control the event passing and stuff, it's really, really interesting. And it has been done before, like XState does something similar to this, though it also has like state charts and stuff on top. So this is like just a bare bone actor model implementation, where I've taken all my experience writing devtools and see where that can take us. So I have a new update on the devtool, but to first just show you the code that is running behind it. Basically, an actor is like an isolated tiny piece of logic which runs behind states. So in this case, we have like an app here, which can either be in a loading state or in a loaded state. When it's in a loading state, it doesn't have any data. When it's loaded, it has a title. And then there are two different events that can be passed in here, like silly names. Sorry about that. It can handle a title updated event and a foo updated event. And in the actual implementation, we see that it starts in the loading state. We don't have we could actually remove this. We don't have a title. And when we define our events, we define them behind the states. So in the loading state, it will handle the title updated event, where we basically just go in and we get the current data, we get the title from the event, and then we return a tuple of the new data and what state we want to transition into, which is the loaded state. And then during the loaded state, we will handle the foo updated event, which again just updates the data. It doesn't transition. And then it's possible to listen to these actors, because when they transition, they emit events about that transition. So when we transition into the loaded state, we have a function, basically a side effect. And currently it just does something silly, which is to wait 1 second, and then it dispatches the foo updated event back to the actor. And if the actor were to transition to a new state, this effect would actually run this callback. It's like a disposer. Now, there's more to this, but this is what we're going to look at now. So if I save this and we move to the code here, and I refresh, we can see that it's loading, and then we have the title there. And you see it starts in a loading state, and then it moves to loaded. And what we can see in the overview here is that this is my actor. Currently it just uses the ID, which is 0, and then we have an effect. Now you could also connect a different actor here. I don't have a demo of that yet, but that could be the case, that this was connected to, like this actor was connected to this actor, and this actor could like be connected to other actors or effects again. And as we can see, it's linked to the loaded state. So whenever it moves to the loaded state, it will trigger this effect. Now, what's interesting about this, which I tried to explain in the previous video, is how you are able to dive into everything that happens. So there's like a history of events here. And as you can see, as we move on, it builds up like a history of events. So at the top here, it's not there right now, but you can imagine that you had like this master history slider where you would go through every single event, and when you move the slider, you would see the whole thing change. But the point is that typically when you debug applications, there's a specific thing you're looking for. And that's the real beauty of this thing. So every single node in this chart has its own history slider. So what we can do here is that, as you can see when I move through this, we can see that we are in the loading state. We get a title updated, then we move to a loaded state, and then we get foo updated, and we can see that it comes from the effect because they're linked, and then we're done. And as you can see, you see the slider underneath also moves. So everything's like linked to the current history index. So I can also move down here, and you can see that at the top, you can see how that moves. So I can like start to look at this effect, and then I can go up here, and then I can continue moving through history. And I think I haven't seen this before. But looking at like the Overmind DevTools, that is structured by action. So whenever you have an action, you sequentially see what that action does, which is powerful compared to having to go through your code to figure out and like console log and stuff. But you don't have this big mental picture of your whole application. But the actor model pattern allows you to do that. Like you can imagine having your complete application running here, and you could dive into like any actor, and you will be able to like look through what has happened to this actor and how did it affect the other things that it's connected to. So yeah, I'm super excited about this, and I'll just continue working on it, and then hopefully there will be something usable in the end. But yeah, just wanted to give you an update. Let me know what you think, if you have any ideas. Currently, it's not showing like the data that is being passed here. It doesn't show the current data of the actor. I'm a little bit uncertain how to show that, because this chart needs to be kind of static. Like it needs to calculate where all the actors should be in the chart. And then if you have like collapsible and expanding stuff, it would need to like recalculate all the actors and stuff. Maybe that's perfectly okay, but that's something I need to explore, where to actually show the data and stuff. But yeah, iterations. Have a nice day. Talk to you later. Bye bye.